Gus, go with the theme song.
Welcome to the Rooster Teeth Podcast. Again, stealing my fucking intro.
Man, that music sounded really familiar.
Uh-oh. We have another stolen theme song?
I don't know.
I was told that was an original composition for us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong.
These ideas are just floating out there. Anyone can take them.
It was A. Foxwell on the website.
You know what always makes me laugh is to this day when people use that original soundbite, which is, Gus, go with the theme song.
Yeah, that might be the most used one in all of our songs.
You know, the original idea that I had when we first started the podcast was that someone on the podcast would make up and sing a theme song every week. How many would we be up to at this point, Gus? Of terrible...
111?
Yeah.
What a terrible idea.
Yeah, that would have been awful.
No offense.
Had we continued that.
Yeah, luckily it petered out pretty quickly, just like the different theme songs for Red vs. Blue idea you used to
Also,
I think it was we had different theme songs for Red vs. Blue up through episode 6 before Nico came to our rescue.
Didn't you only make one?
We only put one out. I think
Yeah.
Bernie filmed or
The one I remember
recorded
was
a couple.
the purple one.
Yeah, the purple one.
Why can't we all get together, make
it-
ourselves a little purple?
We had a lot of bad
Science.
ideas back then.
Hey man, you
Good
gotta
times.
try everything.
That's right.
You just throw things at the wall and eventually something sticks.
You make it sound like we've stopped having bad
Right,
ideas.
right.
We still have a lot of bad ideas.
So
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Hullum joining
Hey,
us on the
buddy.
podcast today.
should we all introduce ourselves? It's my favorite part when I get to say my own name. I'm Jeff Ramsey.
Hey!
I'm Bernie Burns.
I'm going to be Jeff Ramsey then.
You be Jeff Ramsey.
I'll do that.
And this is the aforementioned Matt Hullum.
And this is Gus Sorolla.
And I'm Cheryl Hines.
You also that's another old
Another
relic from
old
Podcast Pass that
thing,
you used
yeah.
to go through.
Jeff never got tired of that joke.
No, I never get tired of your jokes.
Apparently not.
Always
Apparently
fresh.
You have the best idea, sir. That's a little Simmons for you from Red vs. Blue.
Look at that.
It's like we're referential hell at this point. Hey, remember the beginning of this podcast? We made all those jokes.
Just descend.
Just hit the loop button on your iPod at this point.
So, PSN's still down. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Ooh, what's it been,
That's
6-7 days now?
That's the big news right now.
How many users is that?
They tout like 50 million, don't they? Because PSN's free. So anybody who has a PS3 or what are the other PSP or any of that shit is automatically a PSN user, I think.
That's crazy.
It's been down so long that even though this podcast is pre-recorded, I feel totally confident that when people hear us saying this, it will still be down. They use the word indefinitely now.
Yeah, that's not good.
You know, this is fucked up, and I actually feel bad for PlayStation owners because it's not a cool thing. Imagine if Xbox Live went down for a week. I mean, the world would end.
It's terrible.
But I love that, like, Brandon this morning was trying to justify like it wasn't a big deal, trying to play it off. He's like, it's just a week. In a month, nobody's going to remember that, I guess.
I wonder what it takes to get to that level of brand loyalty where the people who pay for your service or pay for your thing then defend it even when it does poorly. As opposed to if you're out in like the real world and you buy something that doesn't work, you're like, this is shitty. Don't give me my money back. I hate this. Stop it.
I can't play Portal 2 online, and it just came out.
Yeah, that's bad timing for them. It's unfortunate.
Wow. I never thought. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it from the perspective of, well, you can't buy any new arcade games, but they can't play multiplayer.
Yeah,
No.
Portal 2 co-op is no op.
You can split screen it.
More like co-oops.
Yeah, I guess there's they could keep playing the single player or do co-op on the same screen.
So, Gus, can you give us? You're a smart guy, and you have a computer. Can you give us the rundown on what exactly has happened to the PSN?
I think it's cell technology. I'm going to say that.
It's the cloud.
It just stopped working.
Yeah, just
They haven't officially given a real explanation. I think last Saturday they said it was an external intrusion that caused the outage,
right.
which kind of leads you to believe that someone maybe hacked PSN. But some other people who I guess are into the PlayStation modding scene said that this app came out for the PS3 that allowed you to connect to basically like their parallel developer PSN, and then put in fake credit card info and download whatever you wanted from PSN essentially for free.
Right.
Because on the fake dev network it was trusted, so they didn't actually do credit card verification or authorization, so it didn't matter what you put in.
Now, I never went to business school, but
Stop right there.
The entire user base can download everything for free. That is bad for the business
That's
model,
bad.
right?
You
Okay.
cannot make up for that in volume.
At least they don't have to.
Volume will never catch up at that rate.
At least they don't have to pay for the PSN service, though.
I bet you could get someone in a boardroom who could spin that, though. Be like,
Yeah.
we have 100% of the hacker demographic.
You know who you could get to do that? Brandon, Mr. PS3.
So supposedly they are.
The good news is we're finding out a lot of fake credit card numbers. We can sell that back to the credit card companies.
True.
All that data.
Supposedly they're, I guess, rebuilding PSN essentially from the ground up
Golly, man,
to
that sucks.
to fix that.
Did they ever fix that exploit that allowed people to just unlock trophies at will?
I forgot about that.
Because that was another huge hack that they had, or exploit they had earlier this year, where somebody basically figured out you could exploit it and you could just unlock all the trophies on
I bet
on
they would
PlayStation.
gladly take that bug back if they could trade it for the current one.
No kidding.
So is this kind of a condemnation of having an open platform that's on a network like that? I mean, this is all comes from, you say homebrewed. These weren't hacked or the equivalent of jailbroken PS3s, were
They may have been.
Okay.
I think they were modded initially to run this app, and then the app allowed them to get back onto the regular PSN network
Right.
through the dev network.
I see.
So
Okay.
they were modded to begin with, or running hacked firmwares.
So, I mean, could this have happened to Wii? Could this have happened to Xbox 360? Is it
Yeah.
just a matter of circumstance?
I mean, sure. I mean, I don't know the specifics of how the network does checking, but I mean, in theory, I guess someone could do that.
Dude, I can only imagine.
Well, except there's no web browser on the Xbox, and they were using some sort of a URL exploit, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's just the method of
particular
attack.
exploit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
sure.
burn something to a DVD and put it in the Xbox, or put it on a USB drive.
Yeah.
You can get on your 360 and hack Twitter.
Oh, speaking of hacking, I sent you that great link last night, Bernie. The simulated hacking website.
I was trying to look it up right now to show it to Jeff. Can you send me the link again?
I don't know if I can find it.
It's so great.
It's a website you go to, and it just basically loads a black screen, and it doesn't matter what you mash on your keyboard. You just like mash it like crazy, like a hacker in a movie, and it just starts spitting out like all these complicated lines of computer code, and it makes it look like you're really
Like
a
total
badass
badass.
hacker. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
No, it's pretty funny. I mean, you just like pound away in the keyboard. It's
Could have used that for a few shorts.
It's writing SQL commands and everything. It's really fantastic. It's fun. You can sit there and do it for, maybe not hours, but definitely minutes of just like,
I definitely sat there for
This is
for
awesome.
several minutes doing that.
Does it ever turn into Matrix code at any point?
no.
I didn't get that far.
I'll
Hey,
see if I can find out what you guys were talking about something else.
Did while we're talking about video game systems that aren't the Xbox 360, Gus, did you see that Nintendo announced their yearly earnings yesterday?
I didn't.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They 70% loss in revenue.
70% loss?
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah, they did
No,
70%
now
for
you gotta be
Is
careful.
that year over year or quarter to quarter?
year over year.
They lost
Wow.
revenue. So what you're saying
they
is that
sold-
they weren't not profitable. They didn't have a loss.
I don't think they had a loss, but
They
they,
had a
so they
decrease
had
in
a
revenue.
decrease in revenue of 70%.
Wow.
What do they
they're-
attribute
They're
that to?
going to probably the fact that nobody buys Wii's anymore, I would think.
Right.
They did try to spin it that the 3DS is selling well, though, and that they look for continued growth thanks to the 3DS and the new Legend of Zelda game. So
You can't
that's
say
gonna pull them
continued
out.
growth if you're currently not
Or,
having growth.
I guess that's true.
But
Renewed growth.
they're going
backwards
to
growth.
release a new console this E3, right?
Well,
They're going to announce one.
it's gonna be playable supposedly, but it'll come out in 2012.
What did they call the Wii when it first came out? Revolution or something? Was
Yeah,
that
I
the
think you're
first
right.
name?
The Nintendo Revolution. I want to say you're right.
Yeah, I think that was it. Or was that the Wii or was that the GameCube? There was a Wii, right?
The GameCube was Dolphin, I think, and the Wii was Revolution.
So the next one, what's the code name for the next one?
Well, I remember the
Tell
Nintendo
us about the-
64 was originally the 63.
Isn't it called Project Cafe?
Oh, I thought it was going to be like
There's
something
a
like
name?
Yeah, I think
Nintendo-
that's what they're calling it, right? Project
Nintendo
Cafe.
profit motive or Nintendo restart revenue.
Restart revenue.
Yeah, when the Wii was selling, 63 million
And a
units.
ridiculous amount.
Yeah, just an enormous amount of consoles, and you could see the impact that had, especially on PlayStation, and really more so on the 360 as they went after that with the Move and the Kinect, and I mean, I'm
Avatars.
assuming the avatars were a response to the
yeah.
Mii's on
Yeah.
the Wii. And it's hard to believe that from that now we're at a point where everyone recognizes, yeah, we all have Wii's and nobody plays them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it when they announced this new console, and I realized how not excited I am about it. I really hated the GameCube, and I bought the Wii, and there were a couple of cool games for it, but I can't remember the last time I played my Wii. I think it was for that Paper Mario game that came out. And that was like a year and a half ago? 2 years ago, maybe?
Last game that I got for the Wii, man, I can't think of when I bought. Maybe, Epic Mickey. Yeah, that was the last Wii title that I bought.
Jack and I played Dead Space Extraction. That was pretty fun.
The Wii is on all the time in our house, but I think from most people, it seems like it was a novelty item that a lot of
It's a toy.
older people got, and people that are not in the core gaming demographic got. And you also pretty much have to stop playing the Wii after you've broken all the windows in your house, which I think happens to everybody. We've lost windows and picture frames.
Have
and
you
a
really?
TV.
Have you
yeah.
had Windows
Yeah.
broken?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
'Cause our-
Kid in my neighborhood broke his big screen TV.
Yeah.
One of JD's friends.
Did you win $500 on Break.com?
No, he did not. No, he did not. He was after the curve.
They
He
should have
missed
built
out.
in a tiny camera in the controller, so at least you could see something like that records. At least you could see the final trajectory of it. Something cool.
Or if it detects that it's hit glass, it makes a wah wah sound.
void your warranty immediately.
Hey, I thought I read last week that Sony announced they're canceling the PSP Go. Is that right, Gus? Did you
Yeah,
read
well,
that?
I wouldn't say canceling, they're discontinuing it.
Discontinuing it, sorry.
That was always a weird product to me.
thought
I don't
so,
know
too.
how you can convince retailers to sell a product that doesn't use media they sell.
Right.
Like they would sell you a PSP Go, and you'd buy all your games through PSN and download them. Which I guess you probably can't. If you have a PSP Go, you can't get games now, can you?
Yeah.
Can you, man? I can't imagine who's the guy at Sony taking the calls from the developers who are just yelling at him nonstop, because they can't sell any product. They can't sell any of their games because there's no network.
No kidding. How about the guy that's taking the call from Valve, who basically just launched Steamworks
I'm sure
with
that-
Portal 2?
I'm sure that's all lawyers. I'm sure that's just lawyers in rooms
Yeah.
gussying up, and
Yeah.
writing letter after letter, highlighting contracts,
Yeah.
going, guess what? You're fucked.
It's like a dance off, but with legal contracts and letters,
Right? They square up on each other.
writs and subpoenas and shit like that.
Yeah, that it's not fun, I can imagine, at all. But when you talk about a retailer selling the PSP Go, I'm amazed that some of the retailers have said these games that have the codes in them where you need to unlock a portion of the retail part of the game.
You
with
mean
the
all
DLC code.
games?
Yeah, pretty much all games at this point. I'm surprised that they haven't said, yeah, we're not going to sell this. Yeah, it's not a full product that you're selling in our store. So fuck off. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. I got as much as I loved Mass Effect 2, I just went through and completed Mass Effect 2, so I'm 100% with it now. I have to admit, I was very happy to be done with that game, and I loved it. And I'm glad I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Just because of Cerberus Network?
Just because of Cerberus Network and all the DLC and how it was on different accounts in my house, and it was I literally was to the point at the end where I had to log in 2 different gamer tags to play one game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Hey, I have a question, actually, because we both like games on demand, right? And I had something come up that I've never thought of before. If I download a games on demand game, is it tied to my gamer tag?
It is.
That sucks.
It sucks.
Because I don't want to use games on demand now.
Listen, I love that service a lot, but it's when you buy a disc, it's in your house, and anyone in your house can use it.
Yeah.
And games on demand, I think I tested this. Okay, here's the way DRM normally works: is that if I buy a digital product, and I'm talking about the 360 here, if I buy a digital product, it is tied to my account, and it's also tied to the console at which I purchased it, and I can transfer the DRM license, I think, once a year to another console. Yeah. Meaning I can go around with my gamer tag wherever and play my game on demand.
I think that it might not be that bad, because I know I bought Fable 2 games on demand using my account, my Xbox Live account, but I know my wife plays it without me being signed in on our Xbox.
So if you're on that console, where you purchased it or the license lives, then you can play it. Although I just recently bought a game where I felt like that was not working in that way. Or maybe I bought it. Maybe I was mistaken on which console I bought it on.
Okay, see, I think I'm about to enter in because this is something you complain about a lot because it affects you. Millie got an Xbox in her bedroom and a TV.
It'll affect you now,
and I'm discovering this as a problem now. Yeah,
right. And I thought that the Family Center thing would fix that because we're all 4 accounts in my house tied together, and they're all on this family plan that they have, and I manage it through the Family Center, which is very cool because I give my kids points and stuff like that. But then again, it's like, why complain about something that's like, I know I'm a unique case for? I'm like 1% of 1% of people who have multiple accounts in their house, and we don't have like a room that just has one 360 in it.
That's not the Jack Patillo approach.
No, exactly.
It's time to write some angry Twitters.
That will be an ongoing problem, though. The problem that becomes more of a problem for everybody as we go on, though, don't you think? Like with iPhones, that drives me crazy. How it's like if you, like Jeff, I think you solved this problem at your house, right? Putting the same account on
We
all
just
your
have
different
one.
family phones.
Yeah, we just have one account for all of our phones and computers.
Right.
Because
iTunes.
otherwise you're buying
Yeah.
Angry Birds like 15 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. We have one account across all my phones.
Yeah. But you don't really want to do that in the game space because you don't want like your kid's account and your account to be the same account.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's more of a public.
Especially for
you know,
achievements and
rankings
things like that.
achievements, yeah.
And playing together. Like, trust me, I don't want my kid logging on and getting messages from my Xbox Live friends at all. And it's the same thing. I mean, iPhones work in the same way, though, because you tie to your Game Center account. That doesn't really have the traction that the Xbox Live system does.
No, not yet.
But
We'll see.
you know, but I theoretically could become a point where I would want that to be separate from what my kids have. Yeah, it's managing the DRM stuff is tough. It's really tough. Which would be a lot easier to swallow if the prices were lower. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not a big deal. Angry Birds, $1. You know, I really don't care that much. You know, but when you look at like a $500 music library, suddenly that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we run into that with our iPhones
Yeah.
a lot more with music. You know, just like I can play this song on mine, but I go on my wife's phone and I don't have it, or I go on one computer that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's to be a pain in the butt.
Or
Videos.
the problem I have is I have so many different iTunes on so many different things that every once in a while I'll go to a computer and it'll be like, you're not authorized on this computer. You have to deauthorize another computer. It's not
Right.
authorized this one.
Yeah.
The old authorization shuffle.
Yeah.
That nice tool where you can deauthorize everything all at once, that's cool, but once again, you can only use that once a year, I think.
No, you can use it. Well, I guess I've never tried to use it more than once a year.
I think
Are you really
it's
limited?
windowed, yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm
it-
not sure it's 1 year. I might be misspeaking there, but I'm pretty sure that the deauthorize all computers on iTunes is also windowed.
But then 10 minutes later, you get a very angry call from your wife who's like, why I can't do the thing that I was going to do. Why doesn't this work? It's all broken. Come fix it. You're like, oh, fuck.
From my wife specifically?
Yeah, from your wife. I don't know why she calls me, but
Gonna call- Yeah, well, they all have that password. So the dangerous thing though is when the kids learn the password and then you watch them with the iPhone.
Oh,
think
God.
Now,
Yeah.
what's going to happen when all these services are in the cloud, as they say? Because hasn't iTunes been about to announce for 6 months or something that they're going to go all cloud?
Yeah, so they keep
All the- all the
rumoring.
stuff? I mean, I'm wondering, that's just going to make it worse, it seems like, because then you can't even go to, like on your computer and dig through the hidden files and find that, the music stuff that you want to copy over to your son's computer, your wife's computer, or whatever.
I guess
you
it
know?
depends on the implementation. It may, depending on how it works, it may just show up as another drive on your computer that when you're online, it pops up.
It's one of those things. You're gonna have problems no matter what. I mean, I wish
That's
that some of the problems I have didn't directly benefit other people. In other words, that I didn't have to buy another version of the game, and I know they're making money, and I know the rebuys are showing up somewhere on their income statement. But in the same sense, it's like the guy in the 50s driving around with the AM radio, and his car's like, shut the fuck up, idiots,
Yeah.
You have every song ever made on this little, Star Trek device that sits on your dashboard. Just shut the fuck up. So, I recognize that. But
That guy's dead.
your
It's
iPhone
fine.
is smaller than this 8-track, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. But back to that point is when I finish DLC on a title now, I'm more relieved than anything else that I just have to clear all this digital stuff out that I don't have to deal with it anymore. And hopefully someone will come up with a more streamlined way to deal with it. But in the same sense, when you open anything up or make it available to everyone, guess what? The PS3 network goes down
For a week.
For 3 weeks for everybody. You know what I mean? Because it would just be great if everybody was honest. Wouldn't that be great, guys?
Yeah, that
and
would
then you
be.
could have an
I mean,
open system.
They'd already removed the option on the PS3 to even be able to install other operating systems. Remember we talked about that a few months ago. You used to be able to install Linux on your PS3, and they removed that via firmware also because fears of things like this.
Right, that's what I was talking about with
Yeah.
aren't they open on the PS3? But yeah, it was the Linux thing that they shut down. Mm-hmm. How does Steam work?
It's just its own. It's just like PSN, I believe, is a wrapper around Steam.
No, I'm sorry for DRM. Like you have an account on Steam.
like for the computer?
Let's say you gave me your login information.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I just download all your games on Steam?
There is a system in place. I just discovered it the other day. If you install Steam on another computer
Yeah.
or like I have a Windows Mac dual boot, on the Mac side when I went to install Steam and I tried to log in, it said you're trying to log in for the first time from this computer, so we've emailed you a code you need to enter in. So then I had to switch back to the Mac side, get the code, and then go back to the Windows
Sure,
side.
but you could send me the code too.
And
I
then
could.
be
I guess
awesome.
I
For
could.
buddies.
Yeah. I don't know. You might not be able to do simultaneous logins from multiple computers.
So that's the deal.
That
you
would
can't
be
log
good.
in the same place.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like a pretty good solution to me. You know?
I think that's it. I mean, I haven't used it, and I don't. No one else. I've never given anyone else my Steam account, so I don't know exactly how that works.
Like, let's say I had Red Dead on Games on Demand. If I'm playing it, let's say I have a disc. If I'm playing it, and then I hand it to you, you can go play it. No big deal.
Yeah.
And then if I had a game on demand, if I'm just playing it, then no other digital account can be playing it at the same time. That makes sense to me.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Just you treat it like a physical media.
Yeah.
It can be in use one place at one time.
Yeah.
But only by the person that bought it.
No,
Right.
but if you lend it, like
Right.
in the case of the physical copy of Red Dead,
Yeah.
So look at us. Look at us solving the industry's problems
it's
right here.
confusing times.
That's why we're such a highly rated gaming podcast, because we know so much about the gaming industry and solve so many issues.
This is amazing that we've actually talked about gaming for so long.
Yeah, it's true.
We haven't even started talking about Portal 2 yet, which
Oh
we
my
all
God.
played last week.
Let's talk about Portal 2 then.
So, did you see? I guess that Portal 2 is going to be Valve's last game with an isolated single player experience.
I did. Should we also say that we're not going to give any spoilers, so people don't tune out real quick, just to give a disclaimer?
Okay, yeah,
We
sure.
will make every attempt to make this as spoiler-free
Spoiler-free.
as possible, and Gus, you will blank out anything that's spoilerific, right? Okay. So you don't have to tune out.
I'll just go in and add all the spoilers later.
There you go. We'll portal them out for you. So, guys, were you saying that Portal 2 is going to be the last single-player game?
The last game with an isolated single player experience is what they've said.
Isolated is a specific word.
Yeah,
Did they use the word isolated
that's
like
the
that?
exact quote. Isolated single player experience.
Just one can infer that maybe like Half-Life 2 Episode 3 will have co-op. Potentially.
No, by then they'll have invented a new type. It'll be so far in the future they'll have invented a new type of game. You haven't even thought about it yet.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because
that's a good
Half-Life 2
idea.
Episode 3 will be counting fucking 30 years.
Hey! Back when they reinvent what the number 3 means. Then
I don't think that this is a spoiler. But I was reading the Portal wiki last night.
I want to warn
after
everyone,
beating
this
it.
is probably a spoiler.
And they were. I always knew that the Portal universe and the Half-Life universe are the same universe.
Yeah?
And I guess that someone from Valve, maybe Eric Walput, said that down the road that Chell, the main character from Portal, will play a significant role in the Half-Life universe, like in other stories in their universe, and that inferred that she would be a part, like will play some sort of a part in Half-Life. Did you guys ever hear that?
No.
Seems like that would have been a bigger deal. I read it on the Half-Life wiki last night.
I
thought that was strange.
citation needed?
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
It was like a direct quote from the guy.
I've always felt, aside from Half-Life, which was an amazing experience of playing a game and getting an unbelievable story without any cutscenes, that was unbelievably revolutionary to me when they did that. But aside from that Half-Life franchise, I recognize that there's fiction layered onto Valve games like Left 4 Dead and Portal, but it always seemed intentionally surface-ish to me. Like, I never looked any deeper than that. I thought it was the perfect amount of story to justify what you were doing without
Bogging
being
you down with story.
without being overwhelming. Yeah.
I agree. Apparently, all that story is there if you choose to look for it, though.
Right.
It's kind of like the writing on the walls in Left 4 Dead. I learned a lot of stuff about Portal last night just reading, like, all about Ratman and that whole thing. I didn't know who that was. He was all over Portal 1 and all over Portal 2, and there's, like, all these characters I wasn't familiar with.
Great, now I have to go read it too.
I don't know
It was
what you're
really
saying.
interesting. Like, all the scribbling on the walls in Portal 1 and Portal 2 was all by this scientist named Dr. Ratman, who was, like, the one living scientist left in the Aperture Labs and who was hiding from Gladys and selected Chell to be the test subject that beats her. And it's just all kinds of stuff. It's really deep. And apparently you can infer and get all this just from like deciphering all the shit that he wrote on the walls. I just
Okay.
never looked at it that deeply.
I don't know about you guys. I assume that was another test subject who found his. In fact,
I assumed it was another test subject too.
the fact this guy's name is Ratman makes
Yeah,
me
like
even.
Dr. Ratman. And apparently he also was watching and giving clues to Chell throughout Portal 1. And that's what all that stuff was. There were clues he was leaving for her to help take her to Gladys's lair so that he could defeat her.
Huh.
Or that she could defeat her.
Was he... I mean, again, I don't know if this is spoilers or not, but is he dead by the time that Chell does that?
Yes. It's supposedly he's dead.
Okay, listen, I'm going to go even a level higher than that. I didn't know the main character was named Chell.
I didn't either until I started reading it.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no. When do you get an indication that this is Chell?
Is it Chell or Chess?
Chell.
It's Chell.
Chell.
Yeah, it's there. They're even well, there's some spoiler stuff I could tell you, so I won't. But yeah, it's in there.
Tell it, I'll blank it out.
Listen.
There's like a scene when you go through the potato area and you see all the potato science projects. Hers is there. It was Take Your Father to Work or Take Your Daughter to Work Day, which is the day that Aperture Science Gladys went live and destroyed everyone. It's called the Take Your Daughter to Work Day Massacre. And her science project is the giant potato that grows up through the ceiling, and she signs it, and it's like all
That's
this.
Chels?
Yeah,
I looked at all those. I didn't see that.
yeah. It's like they got pictures and everything. Her name is right there in the whole deal.
But here's the
My
deal.
mind is fucking blown.
Yeah, and apparently there was also a Portal comic, and
Yeah.
it talks a lot about it in the Portal comic that came out between 1 and 2.
But if you don't know her name, you wouldn't know that. But you do find. I mean,
I supposedly it's in Portal 1 too. I don't remember where.
Yeah,
exactly,
it was in Portal 1. I remember that.
Yeah.
I also get
If
when
you look for it.
when I'm saying this that I don't know the character, the main character, even had a name. That might sound like I don't care or that's irrelevant. I actually think that's completely awesome. I thought Portal 2 and the story of Portal 2 was probably one of the best that I've seen in any video game ever.
Totally agree. And they also made a big point of talking about how she never speaks at all during the campaign.
Right.
Not because she can't, but because she's so annoyed with Gladys, she never wants to give Gladys the satisfaction of knowing that she's gotten to her. So
Really?
she made a conscious effort not to speak at all at any point.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, though, with the beginning of Portal 2.
The whole time, I can tell you all about that too, but I don't want to, we don't want to get mired in Portal 2 mythos. But the whole time you and I were talking on name last night, that's what I was doing. I read for about an hour and a half, just Portal stuff.
Y'all were talking on AIM? I was on.
You've been drinking.
I was online.
You were sending emails.
So are we then to infer from this that Gordon Freeman is annoyed by everything he runs into, and that's why he never talks as well? I mean,
They actually talked about that with Gordon Freeman too, and I think that Gordon Freeman has spoken at some point, like once or twice.
I can't recall.
I can't
Gordon
remember it
Freeman
either,
ever talking.
but they mentioned that somewhere. That it's very similar to how they treat Gordon Freeman, but yeah, different in some way.
Well, apparently he just thinks Barney is an asshole because he's not saying anything to him.
Barney. I forgot that was his name.
I was trying to think what's the bald scientist name that has Lamar?
Oh,
the
yeah.
pet crab. I can't remember, but yeah, it's I don't think it. I think Valve does a great job when you play Portal 2 and you play through it. I'm not going to give any spoilers here, but they construct things so well you don't realize they're being constructed, and you react to things in the game based. You realize later, I made a reaction to what I did based on something I learned in the game without even knowing that I was learning.
I know
Absolutely.
exactly what you're talking about.
It's so crazy.
what part are you talking about? You can bleep it.
This podcast is only going to be 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Everything I said about not
Blank out
giving
half of it.
spoilers is like thrown out the window. Like,
Well,
yeah.
because we realized we can beep it.
Yeah.
This is going to be one long tone.
There's also, you guys know that achievement where you pick up you save the turret from
Yeah, on the
utter
conveyor
death.
belt.
You know, if you carry it with you, it'll talk to you, and it says all kinds of really crazy stuff like, and then she total spoiler.
Yeah, I knew that.
You never get.
I knew that because I when I picked her up, like I picked up that turret because I was walking down the conveyor. I didn't realize it was an achievement. I just picked it up because I was like, oh, weird, that one's moving. I went to look at it. I got an achievement. I was like, oh, I wonder if there's something special about it. I kept it with me, and then you get to that
Where you can't take her.
where you
any
can't take
further.
it. So I stood there with her forever, just listening to it talk. And I was like, what? I was like, I wonder if all this means something.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
But like, of course, at that point, you don't make
Didn't
the
mean a goddamn
connection.
thing
Yeah.
to you, right? Yeah.
You know what? Portal 2 was a different experience for me, just in terms of being an Xbox 360 game that was different than any other game I've played in a while. Is I was doing things in Portal 2 to figure out if they were achievements. I didn't even load up the achievement list to see what I'm supposed to do. I was trying to do things thinking, oh, this will probably be an achievement.
Can I tell you something as well?
What?
I did the same thing, and I don't know how. My job is to find achievements.
Right.
And something about that game, I was so sucked in so instantly, I never thought to hit pause and go look at achievement lists to make sure I was doing everything properly. And I got lucky, and I only missed one single-player achievement on my playthrough. I got to go back and record for Achievement Hunter. But yeah, they're really cool the way they make it kind of intuitive and like entice you
Yeah.
into finding the achievements, and you do.
And it's crazy. There's so many more mechanics in the original Portal in this game. I was describing a situation to Jeff where I got stuck in a little pit where there's these light bridges that you can use in the game. And this is one of the, what are they called, excursion tunnels, which is like a light tunnel that carries you. And use portals to then make those excursion tunnels go in different directions so that you can travel to different parts of the room. Typical puzzles in Portal, but with a really cool new mechanic. But you get so used to all this new stuff and using it that I was stuck in this pit and I was thinking, I can't reach that excursion tunnel. I can't use it to draw me out of this pit. I'm stuck. And I was in there for 5 minutes and realized, fuck, I got a fucking portal gun.
Yeah.
I can just make a portal and walk out of here.
You get overloaded, and then you forget about the the beginning mechanics.
You
of
have
the
too
game.
many tools.
There's that game. does something that, in a way that no other game has, where it simultaneously makes you feel like the smartest and dumbest person in the world. Like, you watched me get stuck at a point yesterday where I was stuck for probably 20 minutes and I was so frustrated. As soon as you walk away, I figure it out and I go, oh, I'm a fucking genius. And then I go, it took me 30 minutes to figure I'm the stupidest person on the planet. Somebody should hit me with a brick.
Wait till you have an 8-year-old sitting next to you doing that. You know, do not watch anyone else play Portal after you finished it. They will seem like the dumbest person on the planet.
Yeah,
You're like, it's right there.
I walked in on Jeff playing the other day before he finished it, and I was like, and I said out, I was like, it's like watching a monkey with a rock and a stick trying to figure out how to make fire.
It is.
But you have to admit that it's one of the most refined games ever, because somehow they've included into a video game the same mechanic that's like part of Where's Waldo, of just like, it's here, I'm looking at it, I'm gonna see it if I look at this eventually, how to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And there's not that component really in any other game. It's like you were like searching around looking for stuff and you're like, damn it, I'm gonna solve this. And the moment you see the solution, it makes perfect sense to you.
Yep.
Very fun experience, and I would say it's easily one of the most unique gaming experiences you can have. Is the Portal series. I couldn't believe they made another game out of it, and they fucking nailed it.
It'll be a strong contender for Game of the Year at the end of the year in the Drunk Tank Awards.
Yes, it will.
Dude, I can't imagine this year. I don't know what else is on the slate, but
Mass Effect 3.
There's a lot. Deus Ex. Uncharted 3 is coming out as well. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of heavy hitters coming out this year, but yeah.
A lot of threes.
A lot of threes. And 1, 2. Portal 2.
It stayed strong, too. The whole way through, it stayed strong.
It did.
I don't understand the people who complain that game was too short.
Those people are a lot smarter than I am, apparently.
Even, like, I replayed it. I beat it a second time, and even knowing how to beat the puzzles, it still took me 5.5 hours to beat that game.
Yeah. Do you know that most of the levels that they showed, completed levels that they showed at conventions that we went to, like PAX, those were not included. There were a ton of levels that were just those plates, those spiked plates, clamping together. And from what I read, attributed to someone at Valve saying, they cut those because they didn't want to have too much just timing things. They wanted to be more about figuring out how to solve it as opposed to just, I got the jump at the right time or I was running at the right time through this thing.
Right.
Good, because I hate that shit. That reminds me of platformer games.
Sure. Yeah, you hate platformer games.
I hate platformers.
And you liked Portal 2?
Yeah.
So Portal 2...
It's not a platformer to me. It's a puzzle game.
I agree.
I'm going to ask an obvious question. So Portal 2 is a definite recommend from everybody here?
Yes.
Yes.
I could
A++ would do business again.
Poor Matt has just had the whole game spoiled in front of him.
Pretty much.
You should play it, dummy.
That's right. When I listen to the podcast later, I'll bleep out all that stuff in my mind.
Matt hasn't been able to play because his homebrew PS3 has been busy hacking the network.
His kids picked up the Wii controller and smashed the Xbox, along with a window and a TV.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the leaked footage of the new Wii that's coming out?
There's leaked footage?
Sorry, I shouldn't say the new Wii, the new Nintendo. No, the leaked schematics, I should say.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't even seen that.
Yeah.
I sent it to you.
Oh, that thing?
That was in that conversation, yeah.
I thought that was bullshit. That's real?
So
that's
basically, the way they're describing this thing, or the way the schematic is laid out, and you know what? I got to be honest. I usually don't like reporting on non-official information, but these days it seems like everything that you've heard about things that's unofficial has turned out to be true. It seems like.
I don't know about that.
When was the last leak that you heard that wasn't true?
Some of the iPhone 5 rumors about design.
Is the iPhone 5 out?
No, it'll be out soon.
Well, then you don't
But
know.
there's conflicting ones, so they can't all be right.
Well, how are they conflicting?
Like different designs, different looks to the phone.
One of them says it's going to be the iPhone 6.
Yes, one of them says it's going to be the iphone 6. How did you know? Did you read the article?
4.8. Don't turn on me like I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
You're disproving my theory with something that can't possibly be disproven.
What? They have different designs. They're not going to release two iPhone 5s that are
What
the
if
same
they
product
do?
that look totally different.
What if they have two different versions of the iPhone 5?
You're going to sound like an idiot in about 4 months.
We've got, as opposed to sounding like an idiot right now.
Not to play devil's advocate, but how many versions of the iPod do we have?
What's that?
I'm saying, how many versions of the iPod do we have?
That's an excellent question.
I mean, we have the...
One. Because every revision, it's just revised to one uniform look. The 3G, there's a different color, black and white, but that's it.
No, I'm talking about the iPod.
The iPod and the iPod Nano are the same thing
Those
right
are
now?
different products.
Oh, because they give them different names.
I'm saying they're both iPhone 5 prototypes. They're not calling them iPhone 5, iPhone 5 Nano, iPhone
5 AT&T.
I read a rumor that there was going to be
Verizon.
Same thing.
I read that there was a...
You're saying that from... You don't know that.
I do know that.
You're
You
just
don't know.
saying it. You're just saying it. And you're saying it's not...
You're
gonna be
just
that
saying
way.
it. Why is you saying it better than me saying it?
I'm saying most of the leaked information that has come out lately that when the actual product comes out, it turns out it was true. And you're saying that's not true because the iPhone 5 didn't do that. But the iPhone 5 isn't fucking out! So you don't know that!
It's gonna be wrong when it comes out because there's different schematics.
Wait, that's speculation!
You're speculating!
I'm not! Am I speculating?
I will say that I did read that one of the rumors is that there's going to be an iPhone 5 and an iPhone 5 mini. So there could be two different
you look
products.
so scared.
No, that's incorrect. That's Gus is saying that's incorrect. You didn't read that.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Because he's from the future and you're not.
I'm having a lovely time with you guys. I don't want to get sucked into this.
Now I don't even want to talk about the stupid new Nintendo. Gus has ruined it for me.
I would like to talk about anything other than iPhones.
So the new schematic that was leaked, which I'm sure now will be completely false, about the new Nintendo is that it's a base station that doesn't look like it hooks into your TV. The big hook on this console is that all the controllers have the TV screen on them. So you have 4 controllers and you all play.
It's Dreamcast.
Well, the VMU. I think these are high def screens.
Yeah, I'm sure they
know.
are. But yeah, but basically that's the concept we're talking about, right?
Yeah, they also Nintendo actually also did something similar with the GameCube with Final Fantasy, the Crystal Chronicles game.
With the GBAs.
Yeah, with the GBAs, where if you plugged them in, you could use them as little screens where other players couldn't see what you were doing.
Wasn't there something like that with Animal Crossing 2 or one of those games?
I think Animal Crossing did have some on the GameCube did also have something like that. I think that was like you could travel to your Game Boy from the game.
You could.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it also had the scanner where you could buy cards and scan stuff, and they would bring it into your GameCube. Why they didn't make a scanner for the GameCube, I don't know. You had to go buy a GBA for it.
I had that scanner.
That's how I know about it, because this guy had it.
They also have something similar with the 3DS now, right? Where you can like look at cards. It's like an alternate reality or augmented reality display.
Know. 3DS does nothing for me.
Yeah.
I saw it at PAX. Matt
impressed. Said he won't buy it because he read it hurts your kid's vision.
Oh,
the DS3? That's what they released. They said publicly.
Don't play it. Kids under 6 shouldn't play it, right?
Yeah, there's like stickers all over the box saying not to give it to kids under, I think you're right, under 6.
Yeah.
It's a Virtual Boy all over again.
That's great. I don't know how you release a product like that. I mean, especially when it's that is the kids, demographic. I mean, you're not going to that's what they want to play. Mm-hmm. It seems irresponsible to me, even with all those stickers.
You don't think about stuff like that. We were cleaning out the junk drawer at my house, and one of the things I think that came out of there was, I guess when we had a cat, we had a mouse laser pointer. So it's in the shape of a mouse, and it made a little red dot laser, so you could entertain the cat with that. They love those things. And that just came out in all the junk that was coming out of the junk drawer, and we were in the process of sorting it to throw it away. And my younger kid, Teddy, picks his laser pointer up and starts shining it directly in his own eye.
Wow.
Yeah.
I freaked the fuck out, dude. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And my wife did not understand it at all, My wife also didn't understand that when you unscrew a light bulb from a lamp, you shouldn't stick your finger in the socket. She didn't know that would shock you.
Did she get shocked?
Yes, she shocked the hell out of herself.
It was a shocking revelation.
You could say that. It's like the oldest gag in a Three Stooges skit.
But having a handheld video game and telling kids not to play it, that's like having a cookie jar that you filled with poison or something.
Especially,
I mean, kids just know, they see that device, they see that shape, it's like, I have to pick that up and play with it.
Especially
poison
if you
that
put
smells and
Mario
looks
or
like a
Donkey
cookie.
Kong on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's all cartoon
Sonic.
characters.
Right. It's a video game.
Yeah.
It's meant for kids to play.
Yeah.
That's one of the initial designs of it, especially a Nintendo game, right? It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it at PAX, and I wasn't too crazy about it anyway, even though I'm over 6.
I still want to play it. I haven't even seen it, and I still want to see it just to see it. Mm-hmm. I'll probably be blown away by it.
It'd probably make more sense in my hands. Looking at it from 4 or 5 feet away, maybe that was part of the problem, Gus. I don't know.
That's true. I did get a closer look at it at one point, but man, I guess I'm also not impressed with the titles that are out for it right now. Maybe there'll be a game I really want to get later.
Yeah, do you know? Nintendogs and Nintencats is out, right?
Yeah, that and I think there's also a Pilot Wings for it, and I don't think I could name anything beyond that launched with it.
You know what we should do, since none of us play Pokemon? We should all just play the most recent Pokemon. We've completely missed that phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Everyone in this company. Nobody plays Pokemon.
Carrie.
Oh, that's
the young
right.
guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there a way we could capture video of that?
I'm sure we could. We'd have a couple cameras.
We could do
Isn't it like a 1,000-hour game? When they made the most boring video capture of all time? You train the Pokemons to do stuff, right? You build them up.
Right, they like level up, they fight and get better.
You throw the ball.
Just talking about it is horrible.
And then I think that the whole point
You
of
got to
that game
catch them
is-
all, right?
Yeah, it's catching them all. You got to collect them. There's like
collect
a
them and you-
million to collect.
But then you fight them too.
Yeah.
There's a million people right now that are listening
like
to this that are just cringing,
face palming right now.
listening to us talk about Pokemon with no knowledge. So you collect the Pokemon, then you fight the Pokemon, and then the Pokemons turn into other Pokemons, and then you have all the Pokemons.
They like evolve, right? Is that what you mean?
Right, they level up to different versions of themselves.
Yeah, more powerful.
Like there's the lizard one that becomes the super lizard one.
That's speculation.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the lizard yet.
Are they all? Are they
Could
all?
be different schematics for those lizards.
There's two
Could be a
different
super
versions.
lizard and a giant lizard. Which one is it going to be released?
They can't have fire and ice. That's just a steam Pokemon.
No, it's not. Yeah, we should. Is there like a trading aspect or a multiplayer aspect to it? Do you know?
I think you fight each other's Pokemons, right?
All right, that's it. Let's play Pokemon.
I will. My Pokemons will beat the shit out of your Pokemons, guys. No offense.
That's it.
I've never even
My
trained a
Pokemons.
Pokemon. I can tell you
Let me
right
show
now.
them to you.
Is that even grammatically correct? Are they Pokemon? Pokemons?
Pokemon.
Pokemon?
That's a different game. Pokemon.
You can find guides for that on achievement.com.
Speaking of bad original jokes, achievement.com.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy.
Hey.
So while we're ranting about things, I want to go back to an earlier rant. And dear Lord, do I wish that Griffin was on the podcast today just for this discussion.
Uh-oh.
Gus, guess who got busted on an airplane for not turning off his cell phone?
That's fucking bullshit, by the way.
Did you get busted for it?
No.
It was
no.
you?
No, here's what happened. Here's literally what
Did
happened.
the flight attendant tell you to shut it off?
I'm going to tell you. No, he didn't. I'm going to tell you the story.
Did he not tell you to shut it off?
No, he didn't. I'm going to tell you the story.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you the story. Okay. I'm on my iPhone. I'm playing Angry Birds. They go, we're going to take off, turn off your things. And I go and I start to turn mine off, and I'm like holding the button down to turn it off. And the guy goes, "Excuse me, sir." And I just held my phone up to him, and I go, "It's turning off right now." He goes, "Oh, you've been asked that before, huh?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "I just want you to put your window shade up." And I go, or down. It's got to be down for takeoff and landing. So I go, "Oh, okay." And I just turned my thing down.
It was so embarrassing.
That's all that happened.
So embarrassing to watch him go through that. I had to
That's
tell
all
you.
that happened.
The flight attendant shook his head. Other people in the exit row were like, tisk,
He just
tisk.
the flight attendant comes and talks to me while I'm turning my phone off. I'm going to assume he wants to double check I'm turning it off. So I just showed it to him. I'm like, "It's turning off right now." And he goes, "No, sorry, I just wanted you to drop your shade."
We're lucky we all didn't die from Jeff and his flaunting of the rules.
Didn't do anything wrong. I was turning it off. I did put the shade up because it was bright. So you can hit me for that.
And everyone died. This is the moral of the story. Jeff did something wrong and everybody died. So it's really embarrassing. So you can no longer call people. What'd you call those poor ladies with their dog?
Cunts.
Cunts.
No, you call them fucking cunts.
Fucking
I believe.
cunts. I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't in violation of any rules.
You know, when you point one finger at somebody else, 3 fingers are pointed back at you.
I don't know what that means.
And none of those 3 fingers are turning off their cell phone, apparently, because the flight attendant had to come talk to you.
He didn't talk to me about my fucking cell phone, okay? I assumed he was talking to me about my cell phone, which I was turning off.
Because you knew you were guilty.
I was turning it in the process off. He just happened to talk to me the second they announced it, that it was time to turn them off.
And he was looking at pictures of his
You're
dog.
dis-
That's the sad part. That is,
Distorting reality, sir. How dare you?
Sounds like it's time for an updated animated
Oh,
adventure.
my God.
really? You'll be the Rube in that. How does it feel to be the villain now?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I've never been a villain.
What happened to you? You used to be such a good person to follow the rules.
I am. I do.
Everyone around you was safe, was
I
not in
follow-
danger of falling out of the sky.
Follow the rules like crazy.
Speaking of following the rules, I was behind Jeff driving into work this morning. We were like on a stretch of 35. There weren't any cars in front of us, and he started hitting his brakes. I'm like, "What's that fucker doing?" He's like, "Oh, he's hitting the speed limit, so he's stopping." Like, he's slowing down. You hit 65,
Dude, you
and
can't-
you hit your brakes in the fast lane to stay at 65.
You really can't go over 65 on that stretch of
Not on
35
I-35.
anymore. It's
We-
terrible.
we-
There's
we had a
like
break.
4 or 5 cops every day.
No, have you seen how bad it
yeah.
is? God, there's cops
It's
everywhere.
ridiculous.
I don't speed ever. I don't want to like Joel. I do get the
Joel
speeding
gets-
ticket like every 2 weeks.
I think he gets one every morning.
It's crazy.
And then they just mail it to him preemptively. He fills it out on his own. He's on the honor system. He's got a stack of
they
them.
have hand signals they give each other as he passes.
You know, I was following the rules. That's what I do.
He was braking because he was turning off his cell phone while driving.
He was in the middle of a text.
Playing Angry Birds.
He was getting text about a picture of a dog.
There's a stupid local ad campaign going on right now that I think the local NBC affiliate's doing. They're making like little Livestrong bracelets for your individual fingers that say X the text, so you know not to text while you're driving.
I almost got in a wreck the other day because I was looking up at the sign that says "You text, you talk, you die." Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I was like, that is so. That's just like the messaging is just so negative, and just like it's this big looming billboard that's towering over there. Everybody, it seems very Big Brother, you know. And regardless of how bad it is to text and drive, there's something about the way they're presenting it that seems really oppressive to me. And then I nearly ran off the road while I was looking at it.
I was going to say, isn't reading a distraction?
It was. It was a total distraction.
Someone on the internet the other day made a post saying, if texting while driving is so bad and is such an epidemic, then why are traffic fatalities at the lowest rate they've been for the past 50 years?
Is that true?
Yes.
Fuck. Speaking of traffic, did you guys read that they're trying to raise the speed limit in Texas to 85?
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
It's only on certain roads.
Right. I don't think it's anywhere near us, but
Yeah.
Awesome roads. 85 miles an hour? That's badass.
I think roads that are there are some roads that I believe currently have a speed limit of 80, and they're going to get the ones that are currently 80 are going to get bumped up to 85.
because they've had no increase in accidents from 75 to 80.
Don't you think that I at least we go back to this illusion of order in society, like we've talked about before? I always have the feeling like they've planned the curves, that this road is 45 miles an hour, so this curve is perfectly banked and set up and degreed for exactly the turn you need to make at 45 miles an hour. So how do they like just make all the roads 85? That, you know, even highways.
Well, I think that there's like certain specifications, like it has to be a straight stretch for so long,
Right.
and I'm sure there's variances that they're allowed to operate within.
Clearly, Gus has bought into the same illusion that I have, that someone is analyzing this and taking care of this. And I was like, okay, let's bump it up to 85, see where a bunch of people die.
If cars end up flying off the road,
And we'll scale it back from there. It's kind of sad, but there's got to be a portion of it that's that, like some actuary going, yeah, we'll retroactively analyze this and see how many people got crushed inside their vehicles.
we'll lose a couple, but fuck it.
It'll be fine.
People will save time overall.
My ex-wife used to work at the Department of Public Safety, and her job was to enter in tickets for that data. And then they would come and they would take all the data and they would determine like where accidents happen a lot, and then like change like red lights and stuff based on that. That's what she did all day long.
I don't know about you guys, but since we moved into this new office, I am petrified of turning left in front of our office
Yeah,
because
it's
of that.
terrible over there.
There's a
Yeah.
blind corner right there.
Yeah.
Oh, right over here on that street.
Yeah, man. We heard that one accident. And
Yeah.
we're also about 100 yards from a firehouse, so we clocked. It took the ambulance 2.5 minutes to get to the scene of the accident.
In the recent months, there have been a couple of fatal accidents here right by this intersection off of Slaughter.
No, don't say that.
Really?
One of them, the last one I think was on someone on a motorcycle, and I think there have been 2 or 3 others besides that.
When I was a kid, we had kind of a big yard, and at the corner of the yard, we had a bus stop. And for some reason, it was like a magnet for drunk people in the middle of the night to hit. And our street kind of like was a street where you could cut through a busy intersection. You'd like cut through the neighborhood and go around it. And we probably had, when I was growing up, like 3 or 4 different cars hit that bus stop, wreck, and I would wake up in the morning and there'd be like car parts strewn all over the yard, and the bus stop would be destroyed. It was like the old kind. We had the rebar middle and the cement, like it was just cement. That was all it was. It wasn't like a seat.
It's like a pylon.
Yeah, it's like a pylon. So, and one time the motorcycle thing reminded me of it. Got up in the morning and there was a half of a motorcycle left. There was like a destroyed motorcycle. I thought, how are you so drunk that you're able to ride a motorcycle, but you can't steer away from a bus stop in somebody's yard?
Also, where's
It's
the other half of the
craziest
motorcycle?
Yeah, where's the other half of the motorcycle? Where's the other half of the guy? I wonder what happened to him.
Jeff, do
You
you
know?
want to answer some of these questions for Matt? How drunk do you have to be? Now, is it a Vespa?
Maybe that's why I thought it was half a motorcycle.
Because it was one
It
Vespa.
was one Vespa.
I was totally sober.
Speaking of traffic fatalities, I was in Los Angeles, and I was texting with my wife because Jeff and Matt and I took a trip to LA last week where we flew to LA in the morning, we had a meeting, and then we determined that we could make our flight coming back. We could book an earlier one, so we flew back by the end of the day. We flew back at 4 o'clock.
We were in LA for less than 8 hours.
This is where Jeff's cell phone story took place.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's on the way out. He learned his lesson on the way back to Gus. He really
okay,
he
good.
reformed and made good.
Good.
But I was texting with my wife when we were trying to go back to the airport, telling her we were going to make the early flight, and she goes, "That's great. Don't text me while you're driving." And I said, "Oh, it's okay. I'm not driving. Matt's driving." She goes, "Pull over. Don't let Matt drive." She would rather have me drive and text in LA than drive with Matt. My wife is scared to death of the way that Matt drives.
Well, Matt probably has an advantage in LA because he thinks traffic in Austin's worse, right?
Dude,
Oh man,
dude, that was the entire fucking trip.
I'll never. Okay, so here's. Let me qualify this. The statement about Austin is that at 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday,
You're qualifying.
I am qualifying. That's what I said. I'm going to qualify this statement. That's why I started.
Don't get him mad. He's gonna start yelling.
At 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, there will be a horrible traffic jam and nobody can go anywhere.
And by the way, when you moved to
In
Austin,
LA
you moved to the middle of that traffic
LA
jam. I don't know why.
No, that's Jeff. I'm just south of that traffic jam.
You're where
But
it starts.
I'm where it ends, depending on your point of view.
As long as you're where it ends, as long as you're driving away from everything.
Exactly. But in LA, it's at least, at 9 o'clock, you're going to have terrible traffic. And at 5 p.m., we're going to have terrible traffic. We went on a holiday weekend on a Friday, drove out of LAX at 9 o'clock a.m., drove back to LAX at 4:30 p.m.
It took us 2 hours to go 10 miles.
It did.
It was fucking terrible.
It did. And we were in, yeah.
And
That wasn't so good. I have to admit, that wasn't so good.
because we had this conversation.
We had this conversation about 50. I should have never said that because every time on the way to LA, we're going to be like, what do you think traffic's going to be like when we get to LA? Think it's going to be bad? Austin wasn't so bad this morning.
What do you think,
LA's
Matt?
going to be bad?
Remember that time in
All the
LA
time.
that lady told you had a small dick while you were driving around? Anybody in Austin ever tell you that?
Yes.
Matt got a shouting match with the lady in the LA freeway. She accused him of having a
Second
small
time
dick.
I ever met him.
Yeah, it was awesome. We cracked up.
LA, and I will say this though, Matt drives differently in LA, which is probably when my wife Jordan has ridden in your car.
Yeah.
You drive much more aggressively in LA, which I guess you have to do.
You have to.
But we were glad to make it there alive. And after all this discussion of Matt saying yes, Austin traffic is inexplicably bad. LA is not that bad.
It's explicably bad or explainably bad.
LA
Qualifiably
is.
bad.
Yeah.
LA is.
Yeah.
He takes the wheel, and immediately we get stuck, like Jeff said, in a 2-hour, 10-mile traffic jam. It was unbelievable.
It was pretty bad.
Like we weren't going to make the. Like I even said, do we have enough
But you
time
know what?
to make the airport?
But
Matt's like, "No,
but
we
you
got
know what?
it.
You
We
know, here's how
got it."
people from LA think. There was a guy behind me in the security line at the airport, and I heard him talking to somebody else saying, "Yeah, I had just come from like Melrose and Cahuenga, like the area where we came from," and it's like it took me 2.5 hours to get down here. And I was like, "Oh, we beat him by 45 minutes."
I remember we were 45 minutes into that trip, and I was like, God, are we going to make it? And Matt goes, yeah, it's going to go a lot faster once we get on the interstate. And I was like, we aren't on the interstate yet? We're 45 minutes to the interstate? It was a mile from the hotel.
Yeah, it was crazy. And Matt says when you ever talk to him too about LA, he always says the same thing as an explanation of why LA traffic is better. He just says surface streets. And what does that mean? Surface streets. I don't know what that means. You just say surface streets, and that's your explanation.
The local streets. Do you have an alternative? There's a way you can. Everybody. The big thing in LA that you've noticed before is everyone. Whenever you're going to go anywhere, everyone always asks, "Oh, how are you going to get there?"
Right.
And then you debate how you get there.
And they call each other stupid. This is
Right.
what happens in LA. You sit outside your car in a
Right.
parking lot.
It's almost
telling
always
your friends are idiots.
It's always a game.
Yes.
How you get from point A to point B. In Austin, it's basically nobody asks how you're going to get there because there's one way to get there. Done.
In Austin, nobody shows up. I said in Austin, you always try to plan. If you're 30 minutes late, you're still the first to arrive. You
true.
should always set a time when you're all going to meet. That way, you know the very moment that every single person is late to the event, because everyone shows up 15 to 20 minutes late to everything.
We also saw something kind of funny. We were driving down one of those streets, maybe Hollywood, and you saw an Ed Hardy, an Ed Hardy store on the side of the road. And the thing is, they have a store, like a whole store just for that shit. That's ridiculous. And we're kind of laughing at the Ed Hardy store. 2 blocks later, another Ed Hardy store on the same side of the
No
street.
way.
Yeah.
Not kidding. It was fucking bizarre.
It's like Starbucks out there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We almost didn't remember
It's
though
called
because that
douchebugs.
2 blocks took an hour and a half to get down. So,
I thought we
Well, that
actually hadn't
explains
gone
it.
anywhere.
We when I was in Seattle not too long ago with Joel, we were working on some work stuff, and where we were working one day, we went out like on a Sunday. We went out across the street to a Starbucks, and it was closed. We're like, oh shit, the Starbucks is closed. Oh wait, look, there's one right across the street. Let's go over there. Oh no, this Starbucks is closed too. Oh wait, look, there's another one across the street over there. We literally found 4 Starbucks all around that building, and only one of them was open. But still, there were 4 literally all across the street from each other at an intersection.
That's bizarre.
you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because you can't buy coffee online. I saw the funniest thing that somebody posted on Reddit. It was a picture of a Borders, which Borders is now in the process of closing down all over the country to the point where they're even selling.
Are they all closed?
I think they're keeping a few, but they're mostly closing.
Yeah, I mean, they're scaling back massively. The one by us is closing for sure. Anyway, somebody posted a picture of the front door of a Borders, and it was a handwritten sign by an employee, and it said, "No, sorry, we don't have any public bathrooms. Try Amazon." Below that, it was like the biggest fuck you ever. I'm like, thanks, dickheads, for putting us out of a job. Yeah, why don't you go use the restroom at Amazon?
That's funny.
And if that doesn't work out for you, just piss in the bush, buddy. He's not bitter, though.
No, not at all. Yeah, I think all the Borders in Austin closed, and I think it's like they're going through a bankruptcy restructuring. I think they're closing almost all their stores. They're going to keep a few, though, a handful.
Hey, did you guys notice that Texas is on fire? Like the whole fucking state?
I noticed when we were landing our goddamn plane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's on all sides of us.
The fire is?
Yeah. Well, it's not south, but
It's in north
east,
as
west,
well?
and east, yeah.
Really?
There was a fire out near Oak Hill, like near the Y, last week.
Homeless people burned a
Yeah.
whole bunch of houses down on accident.
You know what I gotta say as I get older? Wildfires don't seem to be that big a deal. Like, I've never run across a part of the country. It's like, that's the place that burned down 10 years
I don't know,
ago.
man. You remember the Yucatan thing?
Yucatan?
Remember the fires in the Yucatan Peninsula in
Mexico? Yeah.
Like, if we ever had a fire that bad, that would be nuts. Because that burned, I mean, millions of acres. It was insane. You remember that
We had the smoke in Austin.
we had
didn't
the smoke in Austin all the way from down there, and I remember flying between Austin and LA that you could see the smoke in the air at 30,000 feet.
But aside
Crazy.
from what it does to houses and people, I mean, fire is a natural thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not pro fire. I don't know what
I'm wondering where you're going here.
But it's like
Crazy fire
it's we
in
hear about all these crazy wildfires, but we've heard about them for years in LA, and it's like I'd never heard someone say, "Yeah, we had to sell our house just because where we were, everything burned down and it never recovered." You know, things recover from fire, and they recover pretty quickly. Actually,
Yeah, houses regrow, I think.
no. I said aside from houses and people, everything else.
Fire's all natural, all organic,
It's good for the
very,
environment.
very healthy.
It's like Hawaii. It's like occasionally you just see these clips on the news where it's like, oh yeah, it's lava eating up some guy's house. It's like something from a video game or a Michael Bay movie, you know. And it's like that something happened to those people. You know, I guess they went off and had lava insurance or whatever. You know, we're laughing about someone's house burning.
I know, how awful. So I wonder if you have to get a separate lava policy, or if that's included in their homeowners policy. There, like, do you live in the lava plain? Is it like?
Yeah, is there like 100-year volcano plain or something? It's I'm sure it is, right?
I'm sure.
I'm sure if you live in the in Sweden or something, you have to have snow insurance in case it caves in your roof.
No insurance.
Well, why not? It would cave in your roof, right?
Oh man, speaking of which, I saw this crazy photo the other day. I'm gonna get the countries wrong here, but it showed this channel of water between, I believe it was Sweden and Denmark, and I guess there was a road that connected the two, and it was like a bridge above water half the way, and then it dipped down and became a tunnel halfway through the channel.
What?
And finished as a tunnel. So you just see this road going out into the water and then just diving down into the water.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Sounds like a roller coaster.
Apparently they built it like that because they needed big ships to be able to get by still, and they couldn't build a bridge in such a way to still accommodate big ships. So to show off, they built a road halfway and then just built a tunnel under the rest of it.
Fuck.
Wow.
Dude, I mean, can you imagine being in the tunnel when a big ship's going by? It's like, actually clips the tunnel.
Yeah,
you ever think about that when you're in the tunnel? It's just a bunch of water all around you.
I try not to think.
Do you think about that when you're in a
general.
plane, how high you are? Do you ever think about that?
No.
Doesn't have any effect on me either.
You know, it's funny. One time we were taking off, Jeff and I forget where it was. It was a long time ago, but we were just taking off in a plane, and we were, I don't know, 200 or 300 feet up in the air, and the plane started bouncing, started having some turbulence, and you look out the window, it still looks pretty close to the ground, and Jeff turns to me and goes, "Well, at least if the plane goes down, we're still pretty close to the ground. We could survive a fall."
What?
I was like, "What are you talking about? We're like 200 feet in the air."
It bounced, right?
Well, in Jeff's defense, maybe he wasn't talking to you. Maybe he had Griffin on his cell phone. They were chatting away. Yeah, but being able to see the ground, that's mortifying. Like 800 feet up, 1,000 feet up, that's a scary distance. But 35,000 feet, I just don't have any perspective for it.
You don't see anything.
Although there was a video posted of these guys who were essentially, they looked like they were sitting at the top of a flagpole on top of the tallest building in Dubai.
It was in Dubai, yeah.
And I was ready to die watching the video.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to
What
vomit.
is that, like 2,500 feet?
Well, I have no
It's
idea.
they're like technicians. They go up and
No.
stuff.
This is just dudes. Like they look like guys from Jackass.
Oh,
and
I
they
thought those
just
were
sitting
dudes
up there.
in Russia that did that. Maybe I'm getting my videos
Oh, I remember
confused.
those Russian ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
when
know
it was
the
like
ones you're talking
kids.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a kid where the kid walks on the side of the pole. And then there's the other one we're talking about with the radio tower where the guy climbs up, hand over hand
Fuck
on the
that.
ladder.
Fuck
Dude,
that.
I'm getting freaked out just with the conversation.
Yeah, well, you should post that video in the link dump, Gus, where the guys are just climbing up the radio tower and just
Yeah.
hand over hand rungs, and the guy's like, he's twice the distance of the Empire State Building up. Is that or
I don't
he's
remember.
over the height of the Sears Tower at that point? Yikes, man!
He was higher than 20 feet.
He was higher than 20 feet.
That's
There you
my
go.
cutoff. Even then, I'm thinking I'm being generous.
He was actually probably higher than where you and Jeff were in the plane when Jeff made that comment.
Could be.
Probably.
The Burj Dubai's roof is 2,700 feet off the ground.
Half a mile approximately.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
that doesn't count any antenna on top.
You could almost punch the moon from there.
You flip it off, make it mad. So while we're talking about the way people drive and Jeff's bad habits on the plane and just things that we do being bad people in the world, so my wife and I got in a discussion, and it sounds like Jeff, your wife, and you had a discussion about this recently about Godfather, who to make Godfather for kids,
Godparents, yeah.
Godparents, yeah, for kids. And let's preface this discussion by saying, let's eliminate our family. Let's assume if something happened to one of us, that our children would obviously go with our family, right?
So it'd be like, yeah, okay, sure.
Obviously that would happen. So
Yeah.
let's take that out of the equation.
Uh-huh.
Okay. At what point when you guys die, where am I in your list? Like at what point do I get your kids?
Millie?
Yes.
Do you really want to have this discussion?
I really do. I want to know because we just you guys came up in our discussion of like who's going to raise our kids if we die.
You're pretty high up on the list.
Who could take over this like monumental task of raising our children? Clearly, only we can do. You know, me and my wife. And where do you guys fall on the
This
list?
was just an episode of Modern Family, actually.
Was it really?
Yeah. You guys are pretty high up there.
Are we? Where am I? Am I
know-
above Matt?
Here's the problem. I like Matt's neighborhood better.
Am I
I'd rather
above,
Millie grow up in-
Location.
am I above Gus?
Yeah, because Gus wouldn't take Millie and wouldn't want her. Gus doesn't want to raise a kid.
No, I don't want to raise a kid.
He doesn't want that
I
responsibility.
don't even want to raise my own kid.
Yeah. You guys are always talking about how you want a daughter.
Well,
I
Gus,
got one.
Gus, we could have a discussion with you too. If you died, who would you want to marry Esther? Me or Jeff?
Awful.
It depends on if, it depends on if Esther killed you or not, right?
Matt's saying so quiet over there. So quiet.
I was just thinking your wife would not want to have our kids because then she would have 4 boys.
That's the same discussion we had with you guys. 4 boys in the house.
That would be rough.
You almost
Seems
have a
terrible.
basketball team.
Yeah, no kidding.
No. You just have a fight that you break up 24 hours a day, essentially, with 4 boys.
I will say that
you will get your ass kicked in a house of 4 boys. I guarantee.
she's really low maintenance. Takes care of herself, cleans up her room. She's not doesn't eat a lot.
But people have these discussions all the time, right?
All the time.
And you don't know the horrible things that are said about you as a base person,
Right.
That your friends have about you when they discuss this. Like, should we, what if we left him with Jeff and Griffin? It's like, then you get to learn exactly what people think about other people. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Good and bad.
that sounds awesome.
And then my wife answered. No, what I'm saying, like they have these discussions. So you guys made our list. You'll know. Gus didn't make our list either.
Yes.
Because we're making the assumption that you don't want kids.
No, I don't. No, thank you. Thank you for eliminating me from the list.
I made the appeal for you because I said that Gus doesn't have any kids, so we wouldn't have to worry about the issue of they went to live with him, and they would essentially be secondary kids,
Right.
Or
Uh-oh,
they would
shit.
they would be an additional burden.
I didn't realize I had some advantage like that.
All right, well, let me put a more positive spin on this, Gus. If you made our list and something happened and showed up, and you had to then take care of my kids, would you do that?
If I had to, sure.
What if you were like, it was between you and like somebody else, and you thought maybe that person was okay, but you weren't sure?
And that person was an orphanage.
Who was the guy that raised Webster? What ex-NFL player was it?
Webster?
Dick Butkus.
Was it Dick Butkus?
It was.
He's on the list. He did a good job with that kid.
I want to know where I am on your list. I want to know who's above me on your list. Is Matt above me?
Family's above you.
No,
but he said eliminate
it's eliminate
family.
family. Am I above Matt?
Yes, you're at the top of the list.
So if your family dies, I get Millie. So I have something to work for.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying
exactly.
here. How many family members are above me? Can I beat them out?
2 family members above you. Well, maybe 1. Interesting. Maybe 1.
See, we have the same issue too, though, because we have other people in our neighborhood that we know that live in similar settings. And so
Sure.
the discussion was, well, it wouldn't disrupt their lives if they went over with these other people.
Right.
Wouldn't disrupt your lives.
It would
After-
disrupt our
after
lives.
you're dead?
It would disrupt our lives greatly, but the kiddos' lives, it wouldn't disrupt them.
It's you, and then Jack, and then Joel, then Matt.
Jack, you have the worst list ever.
No, I'm kidding. No.
But it's really funny too when that does come up, because then you also have, you start using some of your friends as a joke, like, haha, what about Joel? Haha, isn't that funny?
I will say one thing
No,
that
Joel would be mortified if you read that.
one thing that Matt and Anna have going for them, aside from their neighborhood, which is I really like, is that Matt has a adopted brother. And so Millie would essentially be an adopted kid at that point, and I would think that having the experience of being raised with another adopted kid would make that transition and process a little easier.
Okay.
Look at you,
Something I think I thought about a lot.
fucking deep thinker over here.
I also don't know that anybody would want my kid. You know, it's kind of I'm dead. Here's my kid, and I take my baggage.
So what's the other option there? To turn her loose?
Ward of the state.
Just put a couple $5 bills in her pocket and turn her loose. She'll figure stuff out.
She's a smart kid.
Should be a feral kid. We have a few of those in our neighborhood, right?
It's true. She's like Nell.
I feel like I've depressed you guys with this discussion.
No.
It's definitely been a little bit of a downer, it feels like.
You guys have an extra bedroom, right? So
Yes, we do.
There
We
you go.
do. And I think it'd be good to go to like with a mix. Would you now? Let me ask you this: would you be disappointed if you heard that there were other people with who don't have kids in front of you? Would that disappoint you?
no, I don't. I don't feel personally like I wouldn't have my feelings hurt if I wasn't even on the list. Mm-hmm. You know?
Do you and your wife have the same list? Do your lists sync up?
Fuck no. No, we don't sync up on that anyway. You know what I mean? Like we don't sync up on all the decisions we make with the kids. It's this constant equilibrium between, the way we operate. Like you're very similar to your wife, Matt. Jeff, you're very similar to your wife. I think I'm the most different from my wife.
Yeah.
But in good ways, I think,
Sure. I'll say that one of the biggest things about who would raise Millie, I mean, it would have to be a stable environment, obviously, and I think it would have to be somebody who has kids, because I wouldn't want somebody to learn how to be a parent with my daughter. But is that someone who knew Griffin and I at the time that we died and really knew us well, and could then tell Millie the kind of people we were, and could have stories, and that she could learn about us from those people, and that would be important to me.
So you want your daughter to be raised by the podcast?
Yeah, essentially. Somebody who could sit her down in front of iTunes. And,
You could just, anybody listening right now.
it's essentially like this is my version of Michael Keaton in my life, right? Like, he's making the videos to his kids.
Dude,
He's
you're
die.
now you're gonna get me all upset. That movie will make you bawl like a freaking baby.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bernie.
Jeez,
And I would also
thought this
like-
would be a funny discussion. It turned into all like somber about people dying.
I don't think responsible parenting is a good topic of discussion for the drunk tank.
We're recategorizing
Well,
to
I just think
parenting advice.
I just think it's funny to analyze your friends in that capacity. Like you wouldn't do that anything else, would you? I mean,
all the time. No. Just that.
Yeah, it's a weird discussion.
It's a fucking depressing discussion, actually. Not even here, but I mean just at home.
Is it?
To think about it. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, well, if at home it's a real discussion. Here it's
Yeah.
not a real discussion.
Or is it?
Here's what I want to know. I would like to know, at what point did that become a duty of being a godparent? I never associated with being a godparent with being where kids go if the actual parents die.
I thought that was the whole point.
I thought so too.
No, I think the purpose of a godparent traditionally is that they become the spiritual influence in that child's life. Like you're designated, I want this person to be us, like help them develop spiritually. That's what I've always thought godparents were, and not this designation of this is where you'll go if something really bad happens. But it has definitely morphed into that. That's what people consider godparents to be.
It's been that way my whole life, or at least as long as I've known about godparents.
Did you name
Probably because of
Yeah.
Webster, but
Did you name godparents for Millie?
I feel like I don't remember naming. I don't think so.
But that would be a major decision, right?
Yeah.
Gus, are you looking at what godparents are?
I'm trying to find a definition here, or like the way it changed.
You're gonna get a lot of Marlon Brando quotes in this search.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I guess it started with definitely religious overtones explicitly, but it does say
Godparent, right?
The modern view of a godparent tends to be an individual chosen by the parents to take an interest in the child's upbringing and personal development.
Yeah, look, here it is right here. Christianity. Traditionally, godparents were informally responsible for ensuring the child's religious education was carried out. That was the responsibility of a godparent.
And for caring for the child should it be orphaned.
And and for caring for the child, should it be? Oh, true. Should it be orphaned? I left off the comment.
You stopped at the comma.
See, speculation, Gus.
I hear Godparent 5 is going to have different form factors. Did you see that the CEO of Tesla Motors said that he's going to put humans on Mars in the next 20 years?
Yeah, he's SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
And NASA is doing a bunch of layoffs, and apparently a lot of people are going to SpaceX and some of those other like space corporations. Richard Branson's one, and I heard a really weird space thing the other day. Like most of those space companies are headquartered on the Isle of Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's something to do with the way their tax system is structured.
Or they know something we don't.
Or they know something we don't.
We should get on
Yeah.
that Isle of Man immediately.
But you have to wonder what's going on over there.
yeah,
You know?
no kidding. Can anybody go to the Isle of Man?
Just men, maybe.
See if you could book a flight, Bernie.
I saw that.
I saw a Tesla.
check
I
that
saw
out.
a Tesla the other day,
I did too.
and Bernie had a great conversation about it. Which was it an orange one that you saw?
Yeah.
So there's one guy. There's one guy that Bernie talked to before. When Bernie was looking at Teslas on the Tesla forum or whatever. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's not how I found him.
That's not how you found him. Okay.
I found the guy through tweetingtoohard.com.
Nice.
He was the top link on tweetingtoohard.com, and then I realized that he was only a block from our office downtown
Wow.
in Congress.
What was his tweet? That was
Oh,
that was
man.
too hard.
I'm trying to look it up right now, but it was about the Tesla, which is how I learned about him. And he said something like, "Gus or Jeff, why don't you explain what I looked at? Why don't you explain what tweetingtoohard.com is?"
Okay, well, he's looking that up. Tweeting Too Hard is a brilliant little website where when you see like extra douchey comments or tweets on Twitter, you can submit them to this website, and then it ranks them and shows all of the like the silliest, funniest, probably most egotistical things people have tweeted about
passive
passively
egotism.
without realizing.
I think 5 of the top 10 at one point were John Mayer, right?
For instance, the top all-time tweet on tweetingtoohard.com is, "OMG, I was saying how I couldn't afford the gas to fly Daddy's jet to the Riviera this summer, and this barista totally rolled her eyes at me." So this guy's number, he's now dropped to number 5 on this list. Here's his tweet. It was, "Fan belt light came on in the 911, so now I'm driving the Cayenne Turbo S, the backup car. I'm trying not to think about my Tesla."
I think I found the guy also. There's a few other choice ones here.
So brilliant.
I don't know. It's just yeah. It speaks for itself.
My credit score, God. He has another one where he lists his credit score. It's like, my credit score is 740, 743, 742. It's easy to get credit when you don't need it.
So they have comments on them now. Look at this, Jeff. Look at this. So here is this. Can I look at comments for this? Here's a guy. The very first comment on this thing. The guy says, "This seems pretty pretentious to me. Was it a joke?" The guy who's saying that. Here's the top comment right there. Then watch this, Gus, or watch this, Jeff. The guy who made that comment is above him. He's number 3. And so this guy's on this board commenting on other people's tweets saying you're pretentious. And his comment is this number 3 says, "I gave my cleaning lady a raise today, even though she didn't ask, as my own little contribution to fighting this recession."
Awesome. He's got another one here that's like,
God.
"This really sucks. Lack of Dvorak support basically kills my dreams of having the iPad plus Bluetooth keyboard replace my laptop."
Man, alive. Yeah, Twitter. Somebody called me out on Twitter just the other day for using Twitter after I've bashed Twitter so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I hate the internet too, and I use the internet. It's a love-hate relationship with everything.
How can you not, though? Twitter to me is always just like if you're ever in a line for a movie theater or somewhere and there's 2 people that are having a conversation and they're having that conversation too loud because for some reason they want everybody else to hear their conversation.
Yep.
Because what they're talking about is so great. That's Twitter.
Jason has a great story about that, like that kind of a scenario where
Yeah.
he was in LA and a guy in a Maserati pulled up and valeted, and the valet opened the door for him, and he gets out and he goes, "Man, I was partying all night." And that was it. He just walked away from his car. That's like, he had to make a big announcement. Jason's like, who the fuck asked you? Who gives a shit? It's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Awesome.
I just had to make the announcement. Now, LA per capita, they have real estate there is expensive. Man, everybody drives, it seems like, some kind of sports car in LA. It's pretty crazy.
It's true.
If they drive a sports car to get stuck in traffic to go 10 miles in 2 hours.
Dude, we watched a guy in an S-Class Mercedes like weaving in and out of lanes. Or no, it was a
It was
four-door
a
Porsche.
It was a 4-door Porsche.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never seen a four-door Porsche before.
He was like reading a book while he was driving. It was on his steering wheel. He was like, doop, doop, doop. You people on the podcast can't see the hand movements.
If you're going 5 miles an hour, it's probably not nearly as dangerous as it sounds.
Not
Yeah.
nearly.
What did you say about that Porsche 4-door? It was like the midlife crisis car for soccer dads.
It's like, you can't fully commit to the midlife crisis. It's like, look, I want to be impractical, but let's be real.
Keeping it real. All right, should we wrap this shit up?
Sure, let's
Wrap it up. Want to talk about what we're working on?
Sure, why not?
I've been doing voice recordings for Red vs. Blue Season 9.
Exciting.
Which it's been fun.
I think people were excited during the video podcast when you said you were riding Lights for Donut.
Yeah, and I got accused of doing some spoiler stuff, but in my opinion, we showed Donut in the trailer. I don't know how we can indicate anymore that character might be returning, than to show them.
Was also in a sponsor extra last season, right?
Yep.
That's
Yeah, but that doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, but yeah.
Yeah, we had a sponsor extra that showed what happened to Donut after Wash shot him. And that was one of the sponsor extras from Revelation, right?
Yes,
Revelation.
Had to be. Because it was tied into the armor lock thing. So that's what I've been working on lately. Getting super excited about that.
Cool.
How about you? What have you been working on lately?
I am finally, after being in here for 7 months, I'm finally painting my office.
Nice.
I see you got part of a wall painted.
I got part of a wall primed.
Primed.
we've got our new server guy starting on Monday, so I'm trying to get the office in shape before he gets here.
Are you excited?
Yes, Jack,
see.
I'm excited. And also working on some RTX planning as well.
How's that going?
Busy. Been a busy few weeks.
Saw the, well, never mind. No spoilers.
What are you working on?
Achievement Hunter like a motherfucker. You know how that goes. Portal 2 videos right now. I'm doing all the Easter eggs today.
Matt?
Nathan and I this morning calculated how many frames per day we need to render to get this RBB9 ready, and it scared the shit out of us.
Nice.
So that's what I've been working on, being scared.
Being scared?
Yeah.
Changing your underwear?
Yep, pretty much.
Cool.
All right, there you go.
I turned our awesome intro into the most boring thing ever. Sorry. Round robin question. What are you working on? All right, well, cool. Well, Gus, I know you're working on RTX, like you said, and
Yeah.
there's a lot involved with that. We're getting really excited about RTX, which is coming up
Yes.
Coming up very soon.
very soon, which
Yes.
is tied into stuff that I'm working on and what Matt's working on as well. So
Yes.
we're all very excited.
Yay.
Boners.
All right,
That's Jeff's line.
let's go touch dicks.